and welcome back to another episode of 501 Tacos, the anime and chill zone. I'm your host, Taco Ortiz, history's spiciest podcaster and the best voice in podcasting. Thank you very much. Here with my co-host for anime and chill, DB, the Dark Britain, my guy, one of my favorite people in the world, currently under the weather, but he is here with us, gracing us with some knowledge and some hidden gems as we unpack toxic fan bases and whether they are actually healthy for franchises. So, like, are they good for franchises that are successful? Do they help them be more successful? Do they, I'm looking at it from different angles. Uh, as some of you might have guessed from previous episodes, Reddit is one of my favorite places to just while away my day. I get a lot of my subject matter and topics from Reddit. A lot of the content comes straight. I mean, some of it I get like day of, and I'm on Reddit pretty regularly. Like I've hit so many different streaks on my new Reddit page, but um, I'm a diehard Naruto fan. My Orange Hokage got me through high school and my early adolescence. He will always hold a special place in my heart. Him, Kaka Sensei, the original emo boy Sasuke, and the gang. But Naruto's fan base is as toxic as hell. And sorry, Khaleesi, I realized I have not apologized to you in a few episodes, so I hope I can get my karma back up. But they're toxic as hell, man. Like, literally. Like, but it's kind of engaging. Like, it's the type of toxic you can't ignore. You kind of like have to push back against some of the stuff or a lot of the stuff. And so I want to also clarify something I don't think I explained really well. The Holy Naruto Trinity of toxicity on Reddit, Itachi, Minato, and Sakura,
Okay.
they're toxic because of their fan bases and how much they get wanked or glazed or whatever you want to call it. You already know Itachi is the solo king. Minato, basically, his wankers or glazers, whatever you want to call them, say that he can he can blitz anyone, and it's GG. It's kind of hard to argue that.
It is. He's the run on site designation.
I mean, he literally has a flee on site, designation for a reason. But then Sakura, and she gets a lot of unfair hate and shit. Sorry, Khaleesi, because she doesn't have the dangly parts. But War Sakura showed up and did her thing. But because of one phrase where her saying she finally caught up to Naruto and Sasuke, she gets memeified to hell and back. I'm going to try to stick in a thumbnail into the episode. I'm going to really dig into the editing tomorrow.
Oh, nice.
And try to put it in the thumbnail so that I can have the thumbnail of Sakura with one of the memes I found on Reddit where they like put her face on Pain's body and basically said the world would know uselessness. Like kind of quoting Pain. And so, that those three fan bases are like now the holy trinity of Naruto and toxicity on Reddit. But I like it. It's fun. I mean, you see the same 9 questions or conversations with different variations, probably on a daily or weekly basis. But I can think of worse.
That's fair. That's fair.
I mean, before I really jump into my the most toxic to me, at least. I just saw a question about whether he's overrated or underrated in the sub. I want to get your thoughts on, the original question. Is a toxic fan base actually healthy for a franchise?
So there's 2 ways of viewing this. Healthy for drawing up internet buzz can be yes, but for approachable for people coming from the outside, no. I know,
Fair.
for example, One Piece our fan base doesn't really get toxic until you're week to week, and we're really approachable. So people are like, "Oh, One Piece," and then you jump in, and it doesn't get toxic until you're all caught up. Whereas like JoJo's is like notorious for having a toxic fan base that can be just unapproachable as the community goes.
I
So
got the
that
JoJo.
also helps as far as like what the toxicity is. Because as a One Piece fan, I'm proud that Sanji versus Zoro fights have literally gotten like Reddit channels shut down for a day because they were fighting so bad over who's stronger, who's better. So we have that, but we don't have like Luffy and Nami are the one true ship, like how My Hero Academia would be. And it's like, and if you
Mhm.
say that there's a different relationship,
Rare.
then we'll murder you. So like there's different levels of toxicity, and that's more approachable than others. So I definitely I am a part of a toxic fan base as far as One Piece goes, and I've also like I'm a JoJo's fan, but I also know that the JoJo's community can be pretty toxic for people just wanting to be a part and be like, "Hey, what is this standee?" And there's like, "It's a stand." Bah.
So yeah, that. So I actually have to get back in JoJo. I started it briefly during the pandemic with my old long-term roommate, and like a lot of things, I just lost interest. Um, so I already admitted I'm in the Naruto's subreddit. I guess I'm pretty toxic at this point. Um, can't help it. I mean, there's a question: do Naruto fans actually read or watch their own work?
Hmm.
And I think there are some people who really base all of their arguments off of the subreddit. Because I'm like, now you're just making shit up. That's not how. That's not. And that's literally going against everything that was actually stated, and you're ignoring the quotes. You're making shit up. So, pardon my language, Khaleesi. Um, but I also agree. I mean, I think if there's one of the 48 laws of power that I have not read that book. I heard it's very toxic. Um, and I'm using that word a lot today, but all publicity is good publicity or something like that. I know that one because it was
Yeah.
attributed to. I personally don't like that, but I understand the logic behind it, but I don't like the. I believe in good PR. You put it that way. That's what I'm in school for. That's what I went to school for. Good PR. Um, but I feel all that to say there are some characters in Naruto, looking at you, Tobarama, who I think have a very particular fan base. Um, I call Tobarama Troporama
Hmm.
because I've literally never seen racists that racist. Um, and again, if you missed this a couple episodes, I'm only going to rehash this point as I get to more damning allegations against Trumparama. One, he literally coined the phrase "fuck the police" by making the oppressed the police of the majority, putting them in their own ghetto, having them blamed for things they actually weren't really guilty of or loosely guilty of. And then, when they were finally annihilated by one of their own, and he's resurrected and given this news, he says, "Oh yeah, I was kind of hoping for that in the end, so I'm glad they got around to it at some point." But he said that to one of their last sons, Sasuke. Like he said it right in his face.
Hmm.
Like he just gets revived during the war arc, and he's like, "Yeah, I was kind of hoping they would, eventually just take themselves out, or they would be annihilated in one go." So, it all's well that ends well. That's literally Tobarama. You can argue he has the Batman kit. He makes XYZ, work. He created all these jutsus. He actually created one of the most atrocious jutsus in the world, if not the worst, with Edo Tensai, which violates all natural laws of man and the material world. But I mean, let's get into some more of the facts and allegations. Ninja Diddy himself, or Ochimaru, literally I mean, he literally thanks the man and says, "You are my biggest inspiration." Ninja Diddy said to your face and his teacher, the third Hokage, who's standing right there, "You are really my biggest inspiration." Also, Danzo, the Warhawk, who was running everything in the shadows and just militant and oppressive to the very end, was inspired by Tobarama. Not the first Hokage, literally Tobarama. And so like just keep that in mind. And then Kabuto was influenced by both of those men who carried on Tobarama's will. And just to give you some more insight on where the insane troll logic of Reddit is going, and just bear with me. People are now saying that they hate Naruto and Sasuke for having literal God-given talent. The Sage of the Six Paths gave them some amps at the end of the series because they were reincarnations, and they had to defeat a worse threat. I'm sorry, they're the two main characters of the series. They have literal God-given talent before the amps, but they got literal God-given talent from the amps. But apparently, Kabuto's everything he got towards the end was, hard earned and fair. He's a literal grave robber, and everything special about him at the end of the story came from a bottle. It literally, he stole DNA and injected other people's DNA into his body. You can say he perfected the white snake sage mode at the Ryuichi cave. Yeah, give him credit for that. Having Kimimaru's KK Genkai? No, dude, he got that out of a bottle. The Sound Force techniques got that out of a bottle after robbing their graves. So that's not getting it the hard way. He's literally. But do you see where I'm going with how toxic the fan base literally is at this point?
Yeah, it
I
sounds
mean,
very. It sounds like it'd be very nitpicky.
some of the conversations, like one guy literally says, "Oh, I think Tobarama's underrated because he does this that, but he's not the best in that, and he's a little racist, like a little racist dude. Like, no, he's the biggest example of racism in the series. Like his own brother who had beef, like his brother's biggest op was Madara, and they had like at least a respect for one another, like a friendship at one point. You could even look at it like, oh yay, and there's some gay in there too. Um, but they actually respected one another. Tobarama didn't. Like he's like, oh, you're one of the good ones. I think you're okay. Like you can stick very close to me, and I'm going to monitor you and make sure that you die the exact way I need you to when I need you to. So he's more than a little racist, but I think he is definitely he should be in that dark triad somewhere, at least probably more than Sakura. Sakura literally has no KK Genkai, no famous bloodline. She trained under the fifth Hokage Tsunade and literally earned every talent and every gift and every technique and every merit that she has, like without any of the special DNA, the reincarnations, or Biju, Sharingan, none of that. She literally earned it. But she's a woman in a very, and I'm going to say that Kishimo did not write the story in a way that's flattering to women.
Sure.
But she's a woman in that fan base, and apparently they hate women. So I would definitely put Tobarama up there before Sakura, but we got to hate on our women apparently. So
I think all that's very fair, especially for a fan base that has been as divided over a lot of things as Naruto has been over the years.
yeah, I think the fan base has caught a lot of flack. Some of it fair, some of it unfair. I definitely I never really got deep into One Piece. I can't critique or judge it fairly. I literally read Romance Dawn. And I was hip when Ace died. Like I read that chapter, like, oh, this is sad. That was like 10 or 12 years ago or something at this point. Um, but I never really got into One Piece. Bleach, I did read up until the point it got canceled. Bleach was not a better story than Naruto. Like, I'm sorry, you can wank the art all day. It does not change the fact that the story was absolute trash. Like, he fumbled every big reveal and every plot twist and every jump the shark moment from beginning to end, really. I mean, it literally was just ass pull after ass pull. So, I think a lot of people give Naruto a lot of crap, but and some of it is justified, but I don't think all is fair. I do think we have a very toxic and unforgiving fan base.
For sure. For sure. And then when you think back about the big three, Bleach, One Piece, Naruto, like Naruto was the cool one. Bleach was like still cool, but it was like edgy. But to your point, it doesn't have a good story. And everyone's just looking at One Piece, just like, haha, it goes on forever. And I'm like, yeah, but I want a world that I love to go on forever. So it's one where I understand people interested in Bleach. They have the swords and all that stuff. A lot of people in Naruto, but like One Piece was mine. So I'm very glad it doesn't seem to have a very toxic fan base until you're like all caught up, and then it can get pretty wild.
Yeah, here, fair enough. I think Bleach's edginess is really what where it gets lost in its own sauce, for lack of a better phrase. It's actually why I like Kagurabachi. Sometimes you get just a lot of nonstop action, but it's literally paced so well that when you reread arcs, you understand that the mangaka has intent and purpose and is littered with narrative plot pieces and mythological its own mythos, basically. Like it's riddled with its own lore, even
Nice.
during the fights. There are some brief pauses, but every moment has stakes and matters, and that's what I really like about Kagurabachi right now. I was actually doing some background reading on that earlier, so I worked on some of my own stuff. But Kagurabachi has the edge, but it's well balanced with narrative. So where Bleach failed, I think Kagurabachi's kind of hitting on all cylinders. Same with JJK. JJK is probably one of the last works that really gripped me the way that the old Holy Shonen Trinity did back in the day. But I think towards the end there was some fatigue for me and some other fans. But I think JJK, which is a really well written story. So I'm excited about JJK and Modulo, just because I think I want it to go on longer than 6 months or 3 volumes. Um, but I like a nice, concise story at this point. I think my biggest gripe about Naruto is still right now at this point with bless you. Um
Thank you.
10 years, what is it now? 10 to 12 years of hindsight, or 11 years or something like
I think
that of
it's
hindsight.
11. I want to say it was
Yeah.
2014.
For 2014, yeah. So 11 years of hindsight. Editor meddling led to a lot of retcons at the end of the story. And I think if Kishi could have kept some of those arcs nice and tight, um, it would have ended on a better note.
Heard.
Uh,
That makes
most
sense.
people, yeah, most people don't like endings. I think we're all kind of like that. I actually learned from a therapist that having ADHD, sometimes we don't want to leave the fantasy because then it's like, what now? So we get, a pickup book. Sometimes I don't finish them. Sometimes I don't finish games, even though I'm like right towards the end. Um, but we want to stay in the fantasy. So, hats off to One Piece for keeping that alive for folks. But People don't like endings, but I do think Naruto could have been a little tighter. Um,
That's
I
fair.
per- Sorry, I thought a gnat or something was flying by me. Um, um, I think Obito should have been the final villain. That's my own opinion. My buddy Sam pushes back against that. If you were going to bring in Kaguya, I think it could have been better foreshadowed, or at least I don't think it was super necessary. But I think Obito kind of fit the bill for both Naruto and Sasuke as a final villain. I liked Madara up to the point you just couldn't do anything that stuck with the guy. Like,
Hmm.
he literally had no weaknesses. But I think Obito narratively fit is a better final villain until Naruto and Sasuke ran into once again. Um, so I would have kind of like built it around that, or I mean, even bring Orochimaru back into the fold as the final villain or something. Have him possess, Obito or something. Um, I mean, I don't think you really have to. Well, you kind of do. Orochimaru gets stomped every time he runs into a Sharingan. Um, but I don't think you have to do too much mental gymnastics to find a way to get the guy to finally, fulfill his lifelong, dream of obtaining the Rinnegan and Uchiha body. But again, that's just me. Like,
Hmm.
obviously, this is hindsight, and something that Sam said to me recently is that um, I got to think of the way he phrased it. I should read the quote, but it's like fan bases take a finished product and make it like their what if scenarios or alternate universes, and like kind of play with it like a fun little um, um, I can't think of the way he put it. It was very endearing. So I want to make sure I quote it right. I'll say it right next episode. But basically, we take finished works and kind of make it our own. We kind of play with it, toy with it, what ifs, and all that other stuff. So,
Yeah.
um, with me, especially with the Naruto Power Scaling subreddit being like my new sanity over the last month or two, um, I really am falling in love with my original love again, and that's Naruto. Boruto could probably learn a thing or two from JJK Modulo, but here we are. So, got to kind of ride that out. And I like Boruto. I just think it's a matter of how much of it is nostalgia for me, or just me. I like a lot of the concepts. I like a lot of the ideas they're trying to. I just don't think they're clicking. I think the pace is bad. There's been a huge shift in the story since Kodachi stepped down. Um, so I have my own critiques of that, but I want to give it its. I want to let it do its thing first before I, pass my ultimate judgment. But um, you know, I like to think I'm a pretty impartial or pretty fair fan. I know I have my toxic traits with, um, my loves and things that they're close to me in my heart. Um, I don't think I realized how visceral I will defend Naruto until one day in my Discord a few years back, my buddy was like comparing it. He was slandering it in comparison to My Hero Academia. And he
Oh,
actually, oh
yeah.
yeah,
That's not even. No, no, no.
oh bro, I went nuclear. I don't even know where that response came from. Like, it was like I was possessed, and my like the entire server was like, "Damn, dude, that was." I was like, "Yeah, dude, like, dude, don't do that." Like, he literally, this is my guy, Mick. I love him to death. He apologized like recently, like a month or two ago, randomly. I'm like, bro, that was like 4 years ago. It's all good. Like, we all have our opinions, whatever. Like, I don't care. Like, it is what it is. Like, I wasn't mad at you for 4 years because of that. We were still cool and talking. But I didn't realize like how much I would defend my baby until that day. So it became like a unspoken rule, like, do not insult Naruto around me. Um, so I mean, I guess maybe I am toxic if that's the case, But I mean, hey, we all have our passions and things. So I'll talk to my
Self realization.
I'll talk to my therapist about it, like, do some journaling and some reflection. But no, I do think monetarily, from a financial standpoint, I do think having toxic, passionate fan base, whatever term you want to use for it on a given day, could be healthy to keep the money wheel churning. So, um, I just don't think it's always a good look when we're saying things that are factually untrue, making up our own realities or making up our own interpretations of quotes that are explained to hell and back. So, I like you. I think it's a double-edged sword at times. You know, you want to have a passionate fan base, but you also want us to be more welcoming and inviting. Really long way to get to that answer, but hey. Any final thoughts, DB? You
No,
want
no. As far as toxic fan bases go, I mean, they you can't say fanatic without fans. So that's just the best way of putting it.
to? You know what? You just reminded me. I actually met Sam. Sam and I are like pen pals. We've actually never met in real life, so we're working on that. But we met on YouTube, and it was after Naruto beat Pain, and I was defending something. I think I was defending Sasuke, and Naruto not really having an answer for Susanoo. I'm pretty sure that was the time, and I got called a Susanoo fanboy. So that was my name on YouTube for years, Susanoo fanboy. But Sam actually just asked a simple question in the in the chat. He's like, "Well, give a case for Naruto, or give a case for Sasuke, one or the other." And I kind of like snapped. I'm like, "I'm not talking to you right now. Let me deal with this guy." And I ended up like going back and apologizing to him, like, "My bad, dude. Like you didn't say anything wrong." But that's like where our friendship came from. So
Yeah.
we've been friends 16 years, I think. 16 or 17 years. But that's originally where me and my buddy Sam uh, built our friendship, and we talk every day, talk about Naruto pretty much every day. Um, he has his own ideas for how the war arc should have went, but you mentioned can't spell fanatic without fan, and that just reminded me of being the original Susanoo fanboy. So I think that's a good note to end off on. Transition to other topics another time. But as of right now, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for another brief episode of 501 Tacos Anime and Chill Zone. Leave your thoughts on toxic fan bases. Are they healthy or are they more detrimental? And if you are a toxic fan, for what series? Drop that in the comments and drop 5 stars on it while you're at it. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, save. Like, share, subscribe, save. Yeah, send me to a playlist. Send me to a bookmark this podcast. But yeah, later, Space Cowboys.